The day to be transformed too. For us to be transformed. And with that, I'd like us to do something special today, a little mental exercise to help get us in that state of mind of transformation. At this point in time, close your eyes. And I want you to remember that perfect spot, that perfect place in life, whether it be when you're on vacation at a beach or up in the mountains, or maybe it's that special spot at home where you sit down and you are at one with God. You are at one with nature. There is no bill collectors. There is no telephone. And there is no stress. It's that perfect spot where you might find the sun softly caressing your face with its warm breeze of the wind. Are you there? Do you remember that place? As we're there, only for a moment. Now open your eyes and remember that place. That is the place that's closest to your heart. A place where you never want to leave, isn't it? A place that you would like to stay because it's perfect and you're with God, even though it's only for a moment. That is what Peter, James, and John found themselves in on the scripture lesson today. As they walked up that mountain with Jesus, standing there just for that moment. They had a special privilege, didn't they? They were chosen by Jesus as his VIPs. Come with me and see what is yet to come. You see, they were full of anticipation. They had no idea. But then, bam, it happened. Jesus was transfigured. All they can see is the brightness of his clothes, the shining of his face. So much so they had to cover their eyes. But it was so peaceful, so exciting, so graceful, but yet so brilliant. What an honor, what a pleasure to be able to do, to stand there and then see Moses and Elijah, two of the biggest prophets out of the Hebrew Bible, standing next to Jesus, giving them a glimpse of what it would be like in eternity. So much so that Peter even said, it's good to be there. I'll build 3 houses. I want to stay here. I want to live here for the rest of my life. And then Jesus said, no, as they walked down from the mountain. Jesus told them, no, you can't be in this perfect place right now, but only for a moment you may be here. Just that moment. That's kind of sad, isn't it? Not to be able to stay there for eternity. But Jesus and God has plans for us here on earth. We have other things we need to do according to their plan. We can only be in those magical moments just for a moment. Those places just for a moment. But with this bad news comes good news for us. The good news is our lives are filled with ugly moments, aren't they? Those moments that we do not cherish, that we do not want to be in. Those moments where we find friends and family who feel like they're in trouble, they're disappointed, and we don't know what to do. But the good news, it's only for a moment. Just a moment. That's all they are. as long as we let them be the past. That moment in past was trouble. Well, we had a moment in past just a few minutes ago. That was that perfect place, wasn't it? So we know God says you can be in good or bad only for a moment. But let's continue because we have a plan for you. God has it. He doesn't want us to dwell in the beautiful moments. He doesn't want us to dwell in the ugly moments. Jesus was teaching us this, as well as the disciples when they came down from the mountain. Because we must not dwell in the past, but we must be mindful of our present task, and we must be hopeful of our future. If I'm mindful today, I'm here to help those in need. I'm hopeful for the future, for I know I will spend eternity with Jesus. So again, you might ask this question, why? Why can't I live in that place in the past? Why can't I live in that perfect spot? I've asked myself that question. And God said to me, Jesus says, dude, I have work for you to do today. I have things for you to do today. I think that's why Moses and Elijah was talking to Jesus on the mountain saying, Jesus, I know you're here with us, but guess what? You can't stay here right now. God has a plan for you. God has something for you to do. I think they were giving him encouragement. Because if I got in heaven just for that moment, I wouldn't want to go, would I? But God sent two of the biggest people in the history of the Hebrew Bible to come and say, I'm going to encourage you, Jesus. It's okay. God says, I have a plan for you. And you. And you. And Jesus then turned around and told us earlier in Matthew, he knew he had to do it, that he's going to be arrested, beaten, killed, crucified. But then, the glorious news, he's going to rise again. See, he's telling us to remember, I have a moment of glory, a moment of that perfect place on the mountain with God my Father. But I can't because God says, I have plans for you. You have something else to do, something better to do. Now, I know that the road is tough when God picks these choices for us. How do I know that? Look at the road that Jesus took. He had a chance to stay in eternity in heaven, but God didn't let that happen. What was his road? To Jerusalem? To Calvary? What did he have to do? Walk that path that was chosen for him. That path of what? Being arrested, crucified. And at the end of the path, what did he have? The glory of going to heaven. There is reward for these tough paths that God has given and chosen for us in life. God has chosen for us. I have to wonder sometimes, though, when Moses and Elijah were standing there on that mountain with Jesus, and, we have choices given to us by God. Jesus had a choice given to him by God, but then he had another choice.